Very good evening to one and all present in this virtual meeting. First of all, I wish you all a very happy new year and I hope you all are doing good, staying safe and healthy. I express my sincere thanks to all of you for joining this 15 days virtual workshop on different open source technology for libraries. The purpose of scheduling this workshop is only because many professionals who are my friend and other professionals also who are doing in different libraries, they have been facing difficulties in implementation of these open source technologies and they have been in touch with me. So I thought, okay, let us schedule one workshop for 15 days or 20 days for 1.5 hours or 2 hours every day, and one by one means we'll proceed in the one after another, and we will try to discuss all those necessary softwares which are really required in these days in every library to enhance the library services and also to provide the better services to all the users who are seeking help in different domain, different discipline, different services. So this workshop basically has been scheduled keeping in mind, keeping in view those difficulties, and we will try to discuss all those software which are essential and fall under open source category, so that especially those professionals who have been doing and are interested to learn more. So we will try to discuss in this workshop. So to start with, I have prepared some points, and instead of showing it, I will just name it one after another. So then it will be easy for you to understand. See, basically, there are softwares like, especially three three softwares are very essential these days in library, especially library management system like Koha or NewsGenLib or Evergreen. There are many software in open source category, but but especially when we see the scenario, or if you look at the popularity at the international level, we find that Koha has gained international popularity, or you can say international recognition, whether it is a standard or you can say use of the different modules for different context in the library. So Koha remains very popular everywhere. So in open source category, for example, library management software, there is a Koha. There is another requirement in the libraries these days, that we are supposed to have one repository where we can organize, or you can say we can dump all our digital object in a proper way, so that we can provide the access to those resources which are born digital content, or sometimes intellectual output what we collect from the different faculty and research scholar when they submit the document to library. So we are supposed to have it at one place so that it is accessible to other researcher. You can say to fill up the research gap. These especially digital objects or digital files are very, or you can say intellectual output is very important. So the second software which we will be discussing, that is the DSpace. And DSpace is also open source software which is mainly responsible for maintaining the institutional repository, or you can say managing the digital object. So this digital object may be, you can say, any kind of file generated with the help of computer, or it is converted in the PDF format after scanning, or through other method. The third software which is very essential these days, and that is content management system. See, you might have experienced that these days we have the situation of information explosion, and due to the emergence, or you can say the advent of technology and a multidisciplinary subject, the information is flowing over the internet, and people are collecting the information from different through different method. and also we get lot of funding from institute and other sources to acquire the resources or to purchase the resources for the benefit of users. Now it's a duty of library professionals to organize all those contents, or you can say the information, to to be accessed by the end users. So here, the as I mentioned, that library management system Koha is very popular these days for managing all our housekeeping operation. The DSpace software will help you to organize all your digital object. But as far as the content, or you can say the bibliographic information is concerned, especially the static information or sometimes the dynamic, and the information by means in the form of dynamic or static. So there we have to think and we have to organize those information in a structured way, so that any user is visiting your library or visiting your library website, so he or she may get the information. So third very important software, that is the content management system, and in this category you will find many software in open source category, also in commercial category also. So especially if you see the open source category, you will find very good software, and some of them you might have experience, and I also have prepared means many videos on different content management system and uploaded on librarian guide. So those videos may be helpful, but again we will see from the beginning, especially those who are interested to learn, so they will be getting an opportunity to discuss, and they will be getting an opportunity to develop the site. So I am talking about the content management system. Some of them are very famous in nature, very famous software like Joomla, WordPress, Drupal. These softwares are very popular, and one thing is very good in these content management system, that these are very easy to use, and you can accommodate any kind of information in a proper way, structured way. You can also see my website, which is functional now, dptripathi.co.in, which I have developed using Joomla. And you can also see libguide.in. That software also has, that website is also developed with WordPress. So the benefit of using content management system is it gives you a lot of freedom to organize the content, and you will get a lot of features to organize your content in a very structured way. So what it will do, especially the library, when you do develop the website and you float the information for the your end users, they will find it very useful, and they will feel very happy to get the information with ease. So the third very important software is content management system. After that, these days, as I mentioned, that this is the age of information. You can say the situation has come where the information is flowing, or you can say the information explosion has taken place, and we are supposed to organize the information in the same way. The research is also being conducted in different domains, and especially the researcher, or any faculty or any research scholar, or anyone who is doing or interested in research, if they are interested to do the research, and when they sit and start writing the research proposal, sometimes we find very difficult to organize all those bibliographic information, or you can say the content which you have reviewed for writing your paper or research proposal. So it is very essential for researchers, or the faculty, or whoever is doing the research, to organize in a proper way, and it is very difficult if you do it manually. So for that also, there are many good software which will help you to organize the reviewed literature, their bibliographic detail. You can prepare the bibliography, you can cite the information, and for that there are software like Mendeley, Jotero. These software are very popular in nature, and researchers, they are using it throughout the world. And there are very good features, these Mendeley or Jotero. Not only they help you to organize the information, but also they provide you lot of information regarding the research funding. They also means this platform provides an opportunity to connect with the other researcher doing the research in different country or different domain, and also it gives you an opportunity to collaborate with other researcher, or you can collaborate institute wise, or you can collaborate at a local level. Suppose on a same project 5 people or 10 people are working. So all these benefits, if you implement, uh, so it will give you a lot of opportunity to organize the reviewed literature or document. So Mendeley, Jotero, these two softwares are very very popular these days, and we'll be talking about that. And then comes the other software, like as I mentioned in the beginning, that Koha is a library management system. But see, I have uploaded, I think, more than 50 videos on Koha, but still some of the professionals or friends they find difficult, because some of the time we feel that there should be interaction. So I thought, okay, let us discuss at this platform so that everybody will have the opportunity to discuss with each other. So in order to learn Koha, first of all, we need to understand that how does it work, how it is installed, and what are the difficulties we may face while installing. Not only Koha, not only this DSpace, but other software also when we install. Especially most of the software we run in the Linux operating system. So we will be talking about the different commands and different features of Linux operating system. Preferably, we'll be talking about the Ubuntu, that 20.04 LTS. And this Linux, we will be talking about the different commands and where the files are kept, for means how to access those files, make changes. All this we'll be talking about. Then we will talk about some of the Google tools that these days Google has brought many good tools for using for different purposes, and those can be used for enhancing the library services. So we'll be talking about that. Apart from that, if time permits, we will also talk about the Moodle. Moodle is also very good LMS, means learning management system, which gives an opportunity to interact with your user in a very systematic way. You can do a lot of other activities, like you can create quiz, you can create survey, you can grade their assignment, and you can involve your students, or your suppose you are conducting any kind of training program, so you can involve your learners in a very effective way. So all these we are going to discuss. So uh, once again, I welcome you all to this 15 days virtual workshop on different open source technologies required for libraries. I hope this particular program will give you an opportunity to discuss the different and learn different things, different features, different you can say you can means how you can implement in library for providing the different services to the end users. So one thing I will request all of you, that please, wherever you have any question or query, you please note it down, or you can write in the chat box, and that chat box will reflect at my end, and I'll display it on the screen. So we will discuss one after another, yeah, and also we'll see that it is done uh, for the benefit of everyone. So in the today's session, we are going uh, yeah, one question is from Miss Ekta Gupta. This session video would be available throughout. Yes, it will be available in the YouTube. It may happen that if suppose you are not able to attend the session during 7 to 8:30, so you can also see these videos later on. These video will be available on Librarian Guide. But the I will request all of you to please be with me in this session, so that you will have a lot of query or questions. So that time we can directly discuss, and we can I can show you that how it can be solved, especially when we are talking about the software. And especially like Koha and Joomla or WordPress or DSpace, when you do it practically, you face difficulty in some of the portions. So that practical difficulty, it will be solved, or you can understand better when you are with the session, and that time you can raise the query. That will be more beneficial for everyone. Okay, so yeah, one question is from Vishnu Priya Mohanty. It is 15 days program. Can you provide certificate? It can be beneficial. First of all, I would like to mention here that this particular session, 15 days session, is not for providing any kind of certificate. This is knowledge sharing session, and the purpose of this 15 days session is only to discuss the various issues or various different technologies available for providing the services. So no certificate will be provided. It is only for means, sharing the experience, or you can say the knowledge on different technology with each other, and no certificate will be provided. Yes, if you have any question or query, definitely I will try my level best to solve it on means during the session. If it is not done, I will definitely try to solve it later, or I'll give you the information related to that query if it is not done. I mean during the session. So I'm going to show my screen now, and today I will be starting with the one basic, that is the open source technology, and what are the steps we are supposed to follow, because that is very very important. And if you do not understand that how it is not related to only one software, it is related to every software which falls under the open source category or even in the commercial category. So some of the points we are supposed to uh, follow strictly, some of the points we are supposed to consider strictly, so that when you go for implementation, you think about implementation, so you consider those points for avoiding the difficulties in future. So I will be starting with first of all with that, and then we will proceed to the practical session of the different software. Please stay with me. I'm just opening the file, and then we will I guess my screen is visible to you all, and yeah. So basically, I'm not going to talk about the open source technology. These are the open source, you can say, the software where we can discuss and we can focus Yes. So here you can see that there are many areas of implementation, like we have automation, we have digitization, we have web application development. There is another very good software, that is the subject guide, and especially this will help you to provide the research support. Then reference management tool, we are subscribing a lot of e-resources and journals, online resources, so that will help you to manage your journal or article or whatever you're subscribing. Then conference management, e-learning management, online public access catalog, uh, then e-journal archiving, e-resource management. All these are the areas where we can think about the implementation of the open source technologies. And one very good thing I would like to mention here, that in these areas there are software available which you can implement very easily. And yeah, the main thing which I want to show to you, why do we want to consider only the open source? That is the main thing. We need to understand that why only we want to consider the open source. The answer is very easy, because open source software, they promise some of the good thing like better quality. These days the situation is not like 2 decades back, where the open source was not very popular, though it was in existence, but many people, they were not in favor of using the open source technology, because there were less support, there was less improvement, you can say less development. But these days, all the open source software, most of the open source software, you can say they promise the better quality. If you take the example of especially the top technology which are available for use in library, especially Koha, DSpace, ePrint, Greenstone, Joomla, WordPress, Drupal, all these Subject Plus, all these software, if you look into, you will find lot of features which you can easily implement in library and enhance your library services. So one thing which is promised by open source, that is the better quality. Second one is the higher reliability. Reliability means it is you can trust. It is not like means you are implementing and you are going to face problem you may face in commercial software also. Similarly, you may face problem in open source category also. But these days open source software, they promise high reliability, because a lot of support, lot of development, bug releases, everything is taken care by the open source developer community. These softwares these days are more flexible and give you an opportunity, as we know that in open source the code is available, which if we have the knowledge, we can use it. You can modify it and we can redistribute uh, for to be used by other users. So it provides a lot of flexibility as far as the code is concerned, as far as the functioning of the different software is concerned. So open source also promises the flexibility. The cost is very low. You do not have to pay much for implementation, only the hardware part, and some of the supporting software you need to buy, or you may have to buy. But the supporting software also available is in the open source category, which you can use along with the software which you are going to use for different purposes. So it promises the lower cost. If you compare with the commercial software, definitely you will find the huge difference, and that difference will give you a lot of freedom to implement, and it will lower, you can say, the burden. And it will not have extra, you will not have the burden of financial burden, and it will help you to implement the technology in libraries with ease for enhancing the services. And the another promise which is promised by open source software, that is the into predatory vendor locking. Few days back, I was discussing with one of my friend, and he was struggling with uh, he was struggling with the issue of the MySQL software. I'll not mention the name and all, but he was struggling with the the software is implemented, but he was struggling that the MySQL password is not available, so he cannot take the backup, he cannot make changes, or even if he thinks that okay, let me switch over to the other software, or means he was interested to update or upgrade the software, so that time he was facing a lot of difficulty. So that predatory vendor lock-in, which is imposed by the different vendors, especially when you take the support, so that is you can say that open source software aims to predatory vendor locking. You are free to use the whole software, and you are free to customize, you are free to do anything with the software, and if you have knowledge, even you can add the code to your software, you can modify it, you can submit it to the developer community for consideration, and if it is considered, it can be taken into consideration for adding to the main repository of the software. So these are the promises which is done, given, or you can say assured by open source software. Now, as I mentioned, that some of the criteria we are supposed to follow, especially when we talk about the selection. I'm not talking about any particular software. Any software, when we are going to select, you are supposed to have some criteria. Otherwise, what will happen that you may implement, but some of the points, if you are not following, you may have some difficulty in future. So if you follow some of the steps which are essential in nature, so that will give you lot of you can say it will relax your burden, it will give you a lot of you can say relief. So what are those selection steps we need to follow? Let me take one example. I am going to establish institutional repository, and I'm just a layman, and I have to start from the scratch. I do not have any information, anything. So what do I do? First of all, I need to find out what is my need. I have to analyze, I have to identify that if my director or my vice chancellor or my librarian says, Mr. Tripathi, you have to establish the institutional repository. So my first job will be that I have to analyze my need, what I'm going to especially keep in the institutional repository, what type of data I'm going to keep, who will be accessing it, how I'm going to manage it, and how long it will sustain in the software, which software I'm going to use, how much cost it will be. All these means actual need, you need to think that why I'm going to use it. So you have to analyze, you have to identify that why I'm going to use this and why I'm going to select this software. So all these, when you think about, these are my need, and because of this I need one software. So you'll come to a point where you will have a lot of question, and then you will find it easy to proceed to the next question. There you need to, means you will try to develop some criteria based on your need. And what will be those criteria? That definitely you will be thinking that how I'm going to implement it, what will be my software, what will be my hardware, how it, which operating system will be means good for me, then how it is going to function. Suppose if I take the example of DSpace or ePrint or Greenist, any software, so I'll be thinking that what are the different functions available with that software, whether is there any possibility to add any additional plugin or value addition to existing function or not, how does the interface look, whether it is user friendly or it is having some problem in navigation, or does it provide the alert. Suppose sometimes when we submit the document, especially if I take the example of DSpace, so if any document is submitted, immediately one mail is received by the submitter, and it gives the confirmation that your document which is submitted to DSpace or repository, it has been submitted, and based on that the mail comes to your email. So whether the customization of the user interface is possible or not, all these you will be thinking, and then how does it has been designed, whether it is flexible or not, whether I can means multiple you can say user can work on the same uh, platform or not. uh, I can switch from one window or one module to another module or not. All these you will be thinking whether it is possible or not. Does it enhance the productivity or not? Whether it meets the international standard or not. Suppose today I'm using DSpace, tomorrow my director, after 10 years, he says that Mr. Tripathi, you have to switch over to ePrint because ePrint has some more feature and we are not able to do it in DSpace. So what I'll be doing, my director may not be knowing. He may ask that how it can be enhanced. So I may suggest that if we implement ePrint, so that time means the question will come that how the data will be migrated from DSpace to ePrint. So this will become possible if you go with those software which has some international standard, like DSpace. Suppose you will be doing the harvesting of the data, whatever the data you are having in one existing system, you'll try to export and then import in your another system. So, or if you take the example of library management system, if you take Mark, so Mark is of international one standard which has got the international acceptance and recognition. Today you are using Mark, tomorrow if you think, okay, let me switch over to another software. So that time you'll have freedom to switch from one system to another system because both the software are using Mark. So you will not find it difficult to convert the data from one system to another system. So all these criteria you need to think before you proceed for uh, the uh, uh, the selection, finalizing the software. Then you will have to think that you have to think about whether it is single user or multi-user network. I mean to say that suppose DSpace is installed, so whether at a time 10 library staff can work or not, this also has to be checked. Can it be used in a client server architecture? Yes, it has to be checked because these days most of the softwares are web based on web based technology. I mean to say that everything is available through local area network, and all the softwares function these days on web-based technology through browser. So you need to check whether the software which you are going to select, whether it is installed in server and it is being accessed by the different people through different browser or not. Sometimes, most of the times, not sometimes, always we need to generate the report, and also we need to check the security level. Whatever the document is uploaded, it should not be hacked. And also, whenever you want to generate any report, for example, I need to check that how many documents have been uploaded in a particular month, how many documents have been visited, which country has visited through this IP, how many documents have been accessed. All these you can find through report generation. So this facility is available or not in software report generation part you need to think about. Then the very important portion, that is the training support, that is important, maintenance of the hardware and software, and the cost of the customization. Generally, if you are techno savvy, or if you are interested, or you are you can say you are more interested in learning, so most of the friends, they develop the skill, they learn the skill by attending the program or involving in different training, or sometimes they spend time to learn all these. So they develop the skill themselves. But sometimes it happens that some of the friends or professionals, they are not comfortable, they find difficulty in learning things. So for that, whenever you are means you are going to implement any software, you need to think that how my staff is going to have the training in future, how I am going to get the training support in future, if something goes wrong, how it is going to be maintained in, as well, means whether it is hardware or software, what will be the cost of customization if I need to customize any portion of any software. So what, how much cost involvement will be there for customization. So this particular point you need to think thoroughly, that how I'm going to get support. Next point, that is the development support upgrades. So as far as the open source software these days are concerned, especially some of the popular software which are very popular in nature. So the developer community of the open source category, they are very punctual. If you take the example of Koha, DSpace, or ePrint, they regularly means they are regularly upgrading the software, and also they are updating means at regular interval. So as such, you are not going to face the problem in open source software. But when you develop the criteria, you should think that in future whether software is going to get upgrade or not, going to get update or not, and how it is, what is the mechanism for getting the development support. All the you need to think, as I mentioned in my previous slide, that suppose you're migrating from one system to another system. So the most important challenge will be that how the data is going to be taken from one system to another system. So that time the standard comes in the picture. There, if the standard is being met by both the software, you will not have more problem. But if the standard is not followed, suppose I implement some software today, and after 10 years or 2 years, if I switch over to another software which does not, or the previous software does not meet any international standards, so definitely I will be having the problem in shifting the data from one system to another system. So you need to think about the migration part. And yes, of course, every software these days are having the proper documentation. Especially these documents are very, very helpful is when any staff working in any particular section is transferred to another section or another, get another job, and in his or her place, if new staff comes, he or she may face problem in so whatever is done in the IR or Koha or anything, the proper documentation should be maintained, proper manuals should be there so that any layman can look into it and can uh, learn about how to work, how to customize. So these are the selection criteria. I just showed you these two. And now coming back to my previous slide where we discussed the second point. Now, after this, when you finalize your need and develop the criteria, the third point also gives you a lot of opinion, that if you read the relevant reviews and relate about related technology and standard, you get a lot of ideas. For example, when you go to buy one car, you just we get or try to collect information from our friend. I'm going to buy a car, Grand i10 or i20 or Endeavor or whatever. So we get a lot of freedom and sorry, we get a lot of reviews, and we get a lot of opinion about our friends that how this car is. And based on the feedback which we collect, we get a lot of idea that okay, if I go ahead with this, it gives me a lot of, I mean, good mileage on it, some of the good feature this car has. So you get an idea that which one is best for me. So similarly, if you select any software, if you get go to those reviews which has been given by different library professional, it will give you clear cut picture about the software problems and also the good features. The fourth point, you should any library professional before going for implementation should prepare a list of all the packages available for that purpose, their features, their modules, and then also the standard supported. So it will give you one you can say the single window to compare the best part of every software, and based on your need or the assessment which you have done in the beginning, that will give you, you can say, the clear cut idea that which software is going to be suitable for my purpose. So this fourth point is to be done you can say by preparing the list of all the packages available for that particular purpose. Libraries evaluation, honest evaluation. Suppose I have implemented Koha or I have implemented DSpace in my libraries. If somebody asks me that how this software is, how what problem will be in future. So if I'm using sincerely in my library, I will definitely give honest feedback to the friend that if you are going to use this software, it is going to have this problem. You are going to have this feature for your users. So the honest evaluation of the different libraries will give you opinion to come to the conclusion for selecting the suitable software based on your need. Another point is that if possible, visit the local libraries wherever it has been implemented. If you're thinking to implement that particular software, so that will give lot of, you can say, opportunity to you to learn about that particular practical learning. I mean to say the practical problem, or you can say the practical experience you will get when you go to local libraries where it has been implemented, and that will give you the clear picture for deciding that software is good for your need or not. Then up to here it is okay. All the professionals, they may not be techno savvy, they may find difficulty in implementation of the software, so that time they will be seeking the help of the vendor who can provide the service. So in this case, you can ask the vendor before implementation to arrange a demo and leave the demo for at least 10 days or 15 days, so that all the staff, they will find easy, or they will find uh, a time to learn, practice, and also to experience the difficulty or explores the features available with the software, and whatever the, as per your policy of the library, whatever the different application or different functions you are looking for, if the demo version is arranged by the vendor, it will give you time to evaluate based on your need. So this is, you can say, the must. You must do this before going for the final implementation. And after that, after all, you just determine and compare the initial cost. Let me just take one example. If I just go ahead with DSpace, and I put up the proposal for implementation, which involves the total cost, for example, 10 lakhs. At the same time, the e-print software is also there. That software also meets and does everything what DSpace can do, but implementation needs only 2 lakh. So if you put up the proposal to your management of that amount which is not acceptable, it is going to be straightway rejected by your management. So you need to think about the cost of software, and also you need to compare the initial cost. It should not be of that, you can say, that much costly which your management does not agree. So you also need to think about that point, whether it is going to be accepted or not accepted. So after evaluating all these, finally you will come to conclusion that okay, this software is going to be useful for my purpose, and then this will give you, you can say, it will bring you to end point for deciding, or you can say the concluding which software is good. So this is the selection step, and after this I will say, I will share this PPT. It is already available, I think, on my website, but if it is not, I'll share the PPT with you all. Then it will, you can just go through it. Some of the software I'll quickly go, because I have already discussed this PPT, I think, twice, so many of you may be aware about it. This, some of the best open source operating system, very popular in nature and accepted throughout the globe. Ubuntu, Linux Lite, Fedora, Linux Mint, Solus, Xubuntu, Chrome OS, React OS. All these are very popular in nature, open source operating system. Some of the major open source integrated library management system are Koha, Newgenleaf, Evergreen, OpenBiblio, PHP My Library. Especially OpenBiblio, I think it does not have the development support, but still this software exists, and it is very good for the school library. You can easily implement this software and run your cataloging and OPAC and circulation. But Koha, Newgenleaf, Evergreen, these three softwares are very, you can say, big software which meets all the academic library requirement. So those who are looking for the setup or for managing the housekeeping operation of the library, academic library, so they can go ahead with those software which meets their purpose. This I'm not going to read out because everybody is aware what is the feature of library management system in common. Yeah, I was talking about the comparative analysis before when we were discussing about the selection and selecting the software. So likewise, you can prepare the module and also the different software. What are the modules available in every software? And then you can compare which is going to meet your purpose. And for digitization, as I mentioned, there are three good software: DSpace, ePrint, Greenstone, CDS Invenio. Initially, it was developed by CERN in 2002, and so now it is CDS Invenio. Then you can see the statistics of DSpace. This is of ePrint, and this is web application development with content management system. So you can see the content management system. The WordPress has got 36.3, 63.1% throughout the globe. People are using this. Data is little, you can say, the obsolete or old. It may have got some new percentage, but it is approximate 63.1% people around the globe they are using. And 4.3 if you see the Joomla, and likewise. So as I mentioned, the content management software is a very good software for managing your or developing the website or web application. So you can try. And this is my website www.dptripathi.co.in, which I have developed using the Joomla. So you can design your website for your purpose using any content management system. I was working in Biju Patnaik Central Library, so there it was my part of responsibility. So I developed the library website when I was in section. And this is the statistics and content overview. You can see 27 plus million live websites are functional using WordPress. Similarly, other software. This software is very popular. You can say for managing all your research support or classifying all your document in a proper way. So you can see the example. This is the example which will give you opportunity to categorize all the information subject wise. For example, there are 20 departments in your institute. For each department, you may have different. You can say like civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. So all these departments they may have different set of books. So to classify all those information, if you use subject plus, it can be done easily. Whatever the books available, whatever the magazines available, e-journals, databases, patent, you can categorize them in the different tab. So user will find it very easy to reach the information. So we will be discussing about subject plus also in this 15 days session. This is the reference manager. I was talking about the Mendeley and Jotero, which gives you freedom to manage your bibliographic information while writing the research proposal. And also there is a site Jotero Bib, jetbib.org, that gives you instant bibliographic, build a bibliography using any citation style available in this, you can say, the server. So most of the people, they find they use American Psychological Association or IEEE, Chicago, all these. So the MPA, all these are popular citation styles. So directly you can go to the site and you can get the instant bibliography. And for that, research and citation web base is also a solution for research, means for importing and exporting references in various format. It supports BibTeX, EndNote, RIS, PubMed, ISI, Web of Science, all these. So it will give you information quickly and you can import it. Those, especially the, as a library professional, we are supposed to provide the quick information, quick service. Especially, we should support all the researchers, those who are doing the research work. And I really, I will suggest that you use this software, Viva Highlighter. This is a very good software which gives you. It can also be installed in your web browser Chrome, and that gives you opportunity to highlight the particular portion on the PDF file or the website, and it highlights, organize your research easily. Then for journal management, you can use OJS software. That is very powerful software which will help you to manage all the journals. You can see the example librarywebs.com. It is functional, and this is being managed with the OJS software. So if time permits, we also will discuss about OJS, how you can, suppose you are publishing any journal and every month or every 6 months you are publishing. So you can have the website, you can organize all the journal article with the help of OJS software, and it will be very flexible, and you can also configure lot of submission or management of all the content, subscription module, everything you can do with the help of OJS. And the conference, many people, they organize the conference institutions, so they can go and they can use the open conference system, that is pkp.sfu.ca/ocs, or there is another software Indico. Both the softwares are very popular for uh, managing the conferences online. Effortless open source tool for event organization, you can say. For e-learning management system, I was talking about the Moodle. Moodle is very popular for especially for teachers who are involved in teaching, so they can involve their students or active learners with the help of Moodle, and also conduct different activities during the session, quiz, survey, all these grading. All these can be done with the help of Moodle, but there are other software like Chamilo, Totara Learn. These softwares are also very popular for learning management system. Moodle, as I mentioned, you can see the statistics throughout the globe. People are using it. Okay, who find, especially those who are not yet used, and this I will skip. I will discuss later. This electronic journals archiving locus is a program which is being maintained by Stanford libraries. This provides you, you can see here, this is the website. This provides you uh, to, or you can, to build or integrate digital preservation solution. So there is a nominal fee for getting the service of locus, and there you can manage all your digital means preservation you can maintain for the electronic journals. And okay, so this, all these I'm skipping because there are many things, and I these, all these will be the part of our practical session. I'm not going to waste your time only for theory session. But yes, of course, we will be discussing the all the information, all the practical issues when we discuss software one after another. And there is a site sourceforge.net which gives you different category wise open source software. So you can go and you can check it. And if you have any query or question, so you can also drop me a mail. So here I will just close this and yeah. So I was just giving you the brief information about the different open source software. So mainly two things I tried to convey, that what are the different selection criteria or selection procedure if you are going to implement any software in your library, especially when you are trying to implement the open source category software. So you should think, and then you should go ahead for the implementation. And the second portion I was trying to just convey with you, that what are the software available. So these two things you should keep in mind. And when we start the practical session from tomorrow, because it is 8:20, so I also have to prepare a lot of content for tomorrow's session. So I'll see that we go systematic in a systematic way. If it is not finished in 15 days, we'll extend the time for another 2 3 days. So we'll try to finish everything, and we will try to just cover everything, means one after another. And I will request you all that whatever we discuss here, try to implement. If not, at least you practice it for gaining or just improve your knowledge in that particular area. It is going to be very helpful for your interview or whenever you are just taking part in any discussion. So that will give you lot of confidence to speak on any particular topic. So I will request all of you. And now I will definitely answer if you have any query or question. So see the purpose. There is a question from Mr. George Christopher Sudhir George. While Koha provides module for journal, then why we should go for OJS? See, the purpose of both the software are different. First of all, I would like to mention here that Koha is mainly for managing the bibliographic information. Please do not consider it as a digital repository software, because Koha is basically for doing your housekeeping operation and also managing the bibliographic information. So, you if you compare the OJS with Koha, the purpose of both the softwares are different. OJS is basically has been designed for managing the journal articles. So, because when we start the publication of journal, it involves so many things. It involves the right from the editorial, then submission, then review, then uploading, then floating in for accessing by the end users. So this has got different structure, especially if you take the example of OJS. It is not simple like you just install the software and submit and it will going to be published. No, the purpose of OJS is it involves a lot of process. The same way we follow it manually when we publish any journal. As far as the Koha is concerned, Koha is basically a software for managing all your housekeeping operation to display the bibliographic information of all those documents available in your library. But Koha also gives you an opportunity that some of the document you can, along with the bibliographic information, you can upload. But it is strongly advised not to use Koha as a digital repository software, because it is not going to solve your purpose if you consider Koha as a digital object management system. Yeah, let me go one by one. Can I install Koha Space and other open source? Yes, Miss Padma. If I make any mistake while pronunciation, please forgive me. You can install Koha, DSpace, and other open source software in a single PC, but the problem will be that see, in the development system, it is not suggested to install in a single PC. But what you can do, you can install the virtual machine. You can create the different virtual machine, and then you can in one virtual machine you can install Koha, in another one you can install DSpace, then another one you can install Joomla. The benefit will be, suppose something goes wrong with the DSpace, so your Koha and this one Joomla will not get affected. But all the software, if you keep in one system, in a one database, what will happen if one stops working? All other software, related software, will stop functioning. So it is suggested that you do it, but do it in a virtual machine. In the same software, create the same operating system, create the different virtual machine, install in different virtual machine, and switch it on. It will definitely work. Uh, There is another question from Kamlesh. Mr. Kamlesh, can I install Kohan VirtualBox with the? Yes, you can do it. VirtualBox, VMware, or VirtualBox, you can install it. You can do it in VirtualBox. There is no issue. We'll see if time permits. I'll show you in the window how you can create. Even if Ubuntu, if you like, I can show you. Then. Again, Ms. Pallavi is asking that can I install three software in one system? Yes, you can do it, but there is no guarantee that if one stops working, all other will remain functional. So it is uh, advised not to install all the software in the same system. It is strictly advised because it happened once. One of my friend, he means we discussed. I installed Koha, we installed DSpace, we installed library, website, everything. Something happened with the server and all stopped functioning. So to avoid install separately, it is that you use VirtualBox so that it will be easy for you to manage. Mr. Jamil, can you send me the OJS? Yes, definitely. I'll share the installation step, and also, if possible, I'll demonstrate that how we can do it online also, because I have the online server where I can show you that how we can install. So we means once we start the practical session, I'll demonstrate that how you can install the OJS in the online server. My friend Mr. Sams Khan, we want biometric machine connected with Core. Yes, it is possible, but the third party support is required because it has one middleware is to be developed which can communicate with your biometric and with your database. So when you scan your print thumb, it collects the data and it match with your exact information and keeps it in your database. So possible, but it is not available in my knowledge in open source category. We need to seek the support of third party or any vendor who can develop the middleware. Um, okay, so okay, whatever the question you have, okay, thank you all for joining and asking the question. I'm really thankful to you all for being the part of this session. We will rest of the things which is left in this session, we will discuss tomorrow onwards, and we'll see that as much as possible we'll try to cover. If it is not finished in 15 days, we will try to cover another 2-3 days. We will extend the time. So thank you all for being with me and sharing your question or being means making me the part of discussion. Thank you all once again. Wish you all a very nice evening. Thank you once again.